Welcome everyone to our third class for the fall reset. And this is fabulous fall recipes to support your reset, boost immune, and whole body health. And with me this evening is Galadriel Sardonicus, my daughter, who is an amazing herbalist. I invited her on this call this evening because she's not only a fabulous cook and herbalist, but has so much knowledge to share with you all. And I'm just excited to have this information available and offer it to everyone here. So she's an integrative wellness practitioner, a mom of a beautiful one-year-old, I'm not biased, musician and an artist. She's been licensed and practicing body worker for over 11 years. And she's really incorporated why she's called an integrative wellness practitioner because she's brought it all together. So she's taught yoga, given emotional support, nutritional and herbal guidance into her practice. She has a great passion for wellness, creativity, play, healthy and delicious food, cooking, and a deep connection to the earth. She's really on a path of loving service. So without further ado, I want to first talk a little bit about the topic this evening, and then I'm going to hand it over to Galadriel, who we're going to share recipes, a couple of recipes, and I will stick the link for the recipes in the chat. Hopefully I can easily do that here. I'll do it while she's talking. So you could kind of follow along and see where we're going with that. And she's also going to share a wonderful immunity elixir that she's also shared the recipe for, or you're also able to purchase it from her. I've had a scratchy throat today and I've been taking it and it does an amazing job. It's like magic. I love this stuff. And it has honey, which I know I'm not supposed to have, but I got to take care of my body. So so these recipes that we created together are really immune boosting, and there are a lot of roots in them, like burdock and celery root and different vegetables that Galadriel is going to share what the properties of how they're immune boosting with you all. But it's so important that the food that we're eating, when we eat food that is plant-based in particular, we're getting the nutrition from the earth. We're getting the goodness that is really enriched by the sun, by the soil. Hopefully it's not depleted. And we're giving our bodies, we're working in alignment with not only seasonal foods, but what vitamins and nutrition comes out of it to support our immune system. So I'm going to let her take it from here and talk about the different foods that do support our immune system and what else supports it. So thank you. And Galadriel, thanks so much for showing up.
Thank you so much for having me, Mom. I am so grateful to be here and to share my love and my passion for health and wellness and cooking. Ever since I was a little girl and I would get kind of like, scrutinized and made fun of for eating the way I did, I had a mission to make healthy food delicious. And actually, when I was 17, I wrote a cookbook called the Ayurvedic cookbook, and it was blending Ayurvedic medicine principles, which is an ancient form of natural healing founded in India like 5,000 to 7,000 years ago. And I blended that with my own style of cooking. But the whole premise was to teach the nutritive benefits of the ingredients in which we were putting into our bodies. So I've done that with these two recipes that my mom and I came up with. And I'd love to share with you. So one of the recipes that we are creating and have created is an autoimmunity squash and root soup. And I loved making this soup because one, it was really fun to make. It was really delicious. And then looking at each ingredient and how it was affecting my body made me feel even better about eating it. And so the base is squash, and we chose kabocha squash, which is super sweet and yummy. It's a great source of fiber. It helps stabilize your blood sugar. It's rich in antioxidants. And something new I found out today is that it actually supports healthy bladder function. The leeks, I learned, are, well, because they're part of the garlic and the onion family, they contain something called allicin. It's a compound that has antibacterial, antifungal, antiviral properties, and it also produces a free radical called sulfenic acid, which helps neutralize free radicals quicker than any other known compound, which I thought was really cool. It also contains something called camphorol, which has been linked to having anti-inflammatory, antioxidant, heart protecting, anti-diabetic properties. So it helps regulate blood sugar. Leeks are so delicious and they're mild. So even for people that have sensitivities to onions can actually digest them a little bit easier. And I had also learned this today, which I thought was super interesting, that they're a natural source of prebiotics, and they're a good type of bacteria that thrive in the digestive tract, which prebiotics also play a very important role in the absorption of nutrients. And I was wondering in my head if that's why they're more easily digestible than other things in the onion family. So next we have burdock, and burdock is definitely one of those foods that is more of a medicinal source to me than a food for its taste. However, what I noticed is that when in the recipe, my mom will probably point out, but when you throw them in initially with the fat in the leek, it really helps take out a lot of the bitterness that sometimes people will taste. But burdock is such a powerhouse of food. It can help with detoxification of heavy metals. It helps strengthen and grow new mitochondria. It can even help improve sperm count and libido. And it has super strong antimicrobial, antiviral, and antifungal properties. It also helps increase antioxidant levels and protects the liver and kidneys against that oxidative stress. And it's a really strong liver support. It's a really strong blood support. Yay, burdock. Celery root. I love the taste of celery root. It is a super awesome source of vitamin C and K. And vitamin K is a very important food source, especially for pregnant women and also people that need support in bone health and healthy blood clotting. Garlic, similar to leeks, they have that allicin, and garlic is also really important in helping to reduce bad cholesterol levels, blood pressure, and it's awesome with antiviral and anti-cancer benefits. And then we have rosemary. I didn't add in all of the properties of, like salt and pepper, but I tried to include the properties of the majority of the rest of the ingredients in the recipe. And I included all of these properties in the recipe document that I've sent to my mom, which hopefully she will send out to you guys. So if you're not getting this all right now, it's there. Rosemary is awesome. Rosemary, it is not only good for healthy brain function, but it's anti-inflammatory. It's high in manganese, which is really crucial for healing. It helps to improve circulation. It can also help promote healthy bacteria in the gut, which I think is always really important. So yeah, there's the autoimmunity squash and root soup. And when you guys are feeling ready to cook and have that, you shall enjoy it.
So why don't I just take a minute and show you it, because what I've discovered is if I leave the phone, I'm on my phone right now to do this recording. If I leave and try to put something in the chat, because I have to go get the link, I'm going to lose you. So you will be getting the links, and it's actually in a blog that's on the website. So I will send you all of that. I'll try to do it when I stop the recording at the end. In the meantime, here we go. So I prepared this ahead of time because I knew we'd be here for a few hours cooking with me if that was the case. So first I sauteed all the vegetables, the burdock, the celery root, the chard, all the vegetables that she named. So I sauteed it, and you can use either a kombucha, right? Kombucha.
Yes.
And or a butternut. And I decided I wanted to try it with the butternut. And I have to say that I prefer the kombucha. The butternut's good, but the kombucha is it's just richer, sweeter. I like sweet. So it's definitely really flavorful, still is. And then we have, of course, also add vitality broth, which I like the cayenne that's coming through it and the rosemary. So it's really good with that. So then after I sauteed everything, I added it to my blended up squash. And I'm just going to put some in a bowl so I think you could see it. And it's very yummy. There it is. Ta-da. Ta-da. So it just is so nourishing, and it tastes so good. It's so satisfying to have a meal like this. I highly recommend when you're coming out from your juicing and the beginning of next week to have this kind of a soup. It really will just make you feel very good. So cheers.
Yay.
Ready for the next one?
Yes, and I did want to mention that in this recipe, we also added in spinach and Swiss chard. And with that, I would say any leafy green is really good just to get that extra chlorophyll, vitamin K kind of thing. I like using seasonal vegetables, and the winter greens are really wonderful. And I also find that spinach and Swiss chard, they get soft, and I love that instead of using like a rough thing like collard greens or kale. And while they are super awesome and high in nutrition, I love the spinach and the chard because it's a little bit easier to break down. Spinach and Swiss chard both are very high in the K, high in antioxidants, high in C and E, and they also are really beneficial. They're really high in the chlorophyll, which is very important in helping your body detox from toxins and also helping to improve red blood cell count. So go greens. And for our next recipe, Also, I don't know if you guys get as jazzed as I do about this, but it's like the more that I learn about the nutritive properties of each ingredient, the better I feel about putting that food into my body, because I know exactly what it is that I'm eating and what it's doing to these different parts of me, and how food doesn't have to be just like about caloric intake or about sustenance, but it's actually about nourishing the different working parts of our body, you know? So it's very fun for me. Up next, we created a recipe called the Harvest Wellness Cream Sauce and Steamed Vegetables. And I love that we can have flavors, you know, and have textures like a creaminess, and get really strong benefits from plant-based foods. You know, something that I also know is that vegetables like spinach, they also are a good healthy source of omega fatty acids, which is an important health for our brain, for our immune system. So in this recipe, we use flax oil, and flax oil is awesome. It's a really healthy fat. It's a light fat, and it's a good source of the omega-3s, which again are very important for immune function and brain function. We use lemon in this. Lemon, as maybe some of you are familiar, it helps to increase bile production, so it's really good for your liver. Garlic, I shared with you before, antiviral. We use nutritional yeast in this, and nutritional yeast is a great vegetarian source of B12. It's actually one of the very few, if not the only, vegetarian source of B12. So it's usually found in red meat. We also use pumpkin seeds as an option in the cream sauce. And pumpkin seeds are such a nutritive seed, especially because of their high content of magnesium and manganese. Magnesium is really good for, you know, muscle relaxation, and manganese is really important for the healing of injuries. It's a healthy fat. It's great for digestion. It also has antifungal and antiviral properties, so they are good for boosting the immune system. And then we also have broccoli, and broccoli, like all cruciferous vegetables, are a powerhouse of nutrients, including the C and the K. They also contain plant-based omega fatty acids. Broccoli also has an awesome content of chromium, which is really important for energy metabolism and blood sugar regulation. Broccoli also helps fight inflammation. It's a natural detoxifier and anti-cancer. And I just love the taste of broccoli, but you could use any cruciferous vegetable and it has a lot of similar properties. We also use zucchini, and zucchini is really, I think, like all vegetables, it supports heart health, it supports digestion, it supports healthy cholesterol levels, because it is kind of like a carbohydrate. It also helps boost energy, and I learned today that zucchini improves eye health because of the beta carotene. And we use Napa cabbage also, and I love Napa cabbage. It's high in vitamins B and C and K, and also has a great source of manganese, calcium, and other really important antioxidants that support reducing bad cholesterol and protecting the body against cancer. So I think that you're noticing a theme here, in that vegetables are king, and vegetables are anti-cancer, and vegetables are incredible immune boosters. So the more vegetables, the better. Finally, we had orange pepper, and I personally just enjoy the flavor of orange pepper better than other peppers, but I think that the nutritive properties are also pretty similar to each other. Orange pepper it's got a strong variety of antioxidants that support eye health, skin health, immune system function. And I'm sure you guys are pretty well aware, vitamin C is not just important for immune system function, but it's also very important for skin health in that it helps stimulate collagen production. So anti-aging, eat your orange pepper. Parsley is it's one of those food sources that also can be used really medicinally. It's a very strong antibacterial. It also is a digestive aid, and it's a rich source of vitamins A and K. And it's also a natural antibiotic. So, keep in mind that in order to get to get the medicinal value of parsley and have it acting as an antibiotic, you'd probably want to use it more concentrated and not just as garnish in your food. But these are great glimpses into how our food can really be our medicine. And I'd love to support you all in having that experience. So I hope you find as much benefit to learning about this as I do. And
I'd like to share the second recipe. So here's the beautiful bowl of vegetables that I steamed. I have enough for everyone if you guys want to come over for dinner, seriously. So these are the vegetables, and I was going to pour this sauce over it. And voila, can you see it?
Oh yeah.
And it's just really simple, clean food that is delicious. It's just so delicious. There is something I did a little bit different than the recipe. I added flaxseed meal to the sauce.
Nice.
So instead of, I did put pumpkin seeds in there too, but I decided I wanted to put a little bit more flax in. And, if you want to expand on these recipes, you can add an extra carrot, you can add a little bit more water. I did find the lemon. There's something for me about lemon right now that is, I don't know why, but it's tasting a little bitter. So lemon is great to put in. We change. We have different tastes that come in, or different foods that our bodies are needing, and your body is going to tell you. If your taste buds say, no, that doesn't taste right to me, do something different. So you could just add the juice, and that's actually in the recipe. I have put in half of a peeled lemon into my Vitamix and blended it with everything. Or you could just do the juice. It won't be quite as bitter. Bitters, that flavor, bitter is part, when Galadriel was talking about Ayurveda, there are 5 tastes, and bitter is one of them. And you want to balance all of those flavors. So the bitter, the sweet, the salty, what's the others?
Pungent.
Astringent. So we want to experience all of that, because it's all part of what our bodies need. So on that note, Galadriel, is there any more you wanted to share regarding the food portion of this, and how umami, actually, Angie, is not one of the Ayurveda ones. It's a very popular word these days, but there's they were behind the times. Okay. Maybe so. Anything else about the food part, that, or any other things that would support our immune system along with the food that you want to mention?
Well, I think that I may have actually forgotten that we added turmeric root that we put
Oh, yes.
in the sauce.
Yes.
And turmeric is very popularized now, but for good reason. Turmeric is it's most commonly known for its anti-inflammatory properties, and it's also really good for wound healing and improving circulation, and it's good for our brains and our bone health and our joints. And I do want to say that it's important not to overuse things like turmeric, because our bodies can build up a tolerance to it. So my recommendation is putting it in our foods in small amounts so that we can maintain a sensitivity to when we really might need it. So I think that in acute situations, having turmeric supplements is beneficial, but to be taking high amounts of these kinds of medicinal foods concentrated into supplements can have just an effect on us that we should be aware of. Just to use our foods mindfully. And it kind of brings me into the immune elixir that I am going to share with you, because I use things like elderberry, and I use OSHA, and I use chaga, and they can be overused. And I think that it's just important to, especially with elderberry, to use it at the acute onset of a symptom and not to use it like an everyday kind of thing. And yeah, let the cooking be fun. What I love about cooking, and what has always really inspired me about cooking, is that it's like a creative art. And I understand that for a lot of people, we have these busy lives and we don't have time to be creative, and we just need to get the calories in. That's why Beyond Broth Grace's Goodness was really started, was so that we could find a way to have fast nutrition. And with these recipes, I hope that it will inspire you, especially learning about the nutritive properties of each ingredient, to adopt a gratitude practice for the food that we're putting into our bodies, that it's not just about that sustenance, that it's about a creative endeavor to nourishing our bodies so that we can go out into the world and feel awesome, so that we can do what we need to do to lead, the best life we can. So that's what I want to say.
Awesome.
Cooking.
Thank you. Mm-hmm. So we're going to talk about, we'll do a Q&A at the end, but I'd like you to share more about this elixir if you want to. I happen to have a bottle right here. So this is my bottle. It's like gold. And as Galadriel said, she put in elderberry and OSHA and cinnamon, clove, licorice, and ginger. Yeah. So how hard is it to make it yourself if someone wanted to make this?
Well, honestly, I don't think that it's that difficult. I actually do want to say that I modified this elixir so that it does support the immune system a little bit more. I added chaga, a mushroom that is really supportive in boosting the immune system, and it is packed with adaptogenic properties, anti-ulcer, anti-cancer properties. Chaga is also a king to me in wellness. So that's the one modification. Actually, I also took out clove because I found that the clove was It was just very, very strong. So the recipe is essentially a strong tea that you boil out half the liquid of, and then just add honey once you strain the herbs. So what I did, and if you want me to move into sharing the recipe, now I can.
Right.
So today I made kind of a big amount. I took 6 quarts of water and I brought it to a boil. And then once the water boiled, I added in a quart of herbs, and I listed the specific amounts in the recipe, but I did a half a cup of ginger root, a quarter cup of licorice, a quarter cup of cinnamon chips, a quarter to a half a cup of osha root that I harvested myself. Osha Ligusticum porterii is very beneficial for the lungs, for acclimating to high altitudes, for upper respiratory health, and it's found above 7,000 feet. And I live up here in Netherlands at 8236, so I get to harvest osha, and that feels very special. I also harvested the elderberries. There's 2 cups of elderberries in here. And I put in a cup of chaga, and I can try to show you the pot. It's a very dark liquid now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to strain out the herbs. So I probably, once the water boiled, I added the herbs and I turned the heat down to low, and it took me maybe 3 hours to boil off half the liquid. And that makes an incredibly, incredibly strong tea. So what this is, it's more like a wellness syrup. So here we go. Maybe you can see that. And the elderberry, the osha, the chaga, they all turn the liquid very, very dark. And it's really fun to look at the product afterwards. See all that's left. And I just will put that in the compost. I wish you guys were here to smell it, because it has a super sweet, strong, pungent. No. So once I strain the herbs, I add, and this is going to seem like a lot, especially because we're on a cleanse, but I add in a quart of honey. So we should have about 3 quarts of liquid left. And what's really important is to wait until the tea has cooled, because I'm putting in raw local honey. And in order for the honey to retain the properties that the bee pollen and the propolis have, it has to be raw. So we want to make sure that the tea is cooled. And so all we really do is, I have a pint here. I have 2 pints of Donald Willoughby's honey, who is about 15 or 20 miles away from me. And what I know is that in order for the honey to be local, it should be within a 50-mile radius of where we live. And we just add in that golden, delicious honey. And then once the honey is all added, I just mix it and store it in the refrigerator. And I want to use it within 6 months, because I don't add any preservatives into the syrup. So,
Well, I better get some.
yep, here it is. Yeah. So while I think my honey is crystallizing. While I'm getting this honey out, I can tell you a little bit about the properties of what is in the syrup. So ginger is super warming, and I really love this syrup as a winter wellness, fall wellness blend because of its heating ingredients. And I've found that ginger really helps open up the throat. So if I've been talking too much or I have a sore throat, ginger really helps open it up, and it's good for digestion, and it's a great warming circulatory source. The licorice, it not only has that natural sweetness, but it's mucilaginous. And licorice, the benefit to having something mucilaginous is that if you struggle with like stomach ulcers or a sore throat, or something that needs to have that soothing, that coating, licorice is really, really, really great for that. Or strong cough, it helps to soothe the cough. And cinnamon is another really warming spice. It is also packed with antioxidants, and it helps regulate blood sugar levels also. So it's good for balancing out the high amount of honey that's in here. It helps us process sugars. Cinnamon is really, really, really awesome. And it's also antifungal. I remember reading a story once that indigenous peoples would sprinkle cinnamon in their moccasins to help treat athlete's foot and prevent athlete's foot. So age-old medicine, if you kind of struggle with that, essential oil of cinnamon, diluted or the powdered, it's very, very, very strong. What else do we have? So OSHA, I already kind of described to you the benefits of. What you want to be careful of with OSHA is that it is very strong, so I don't add in too much, but it has been used in traditional sweat lodge ceremonies as a way to be able to take in smoke, and it helps, like I said before, it's great for acclimating to high altitudes, and it's also known as bear root. Bears have been known to eat the OSHA as their last food source before going into hibernation. And it's also OSHA is also it's really beneficial in helping with healing coughs and that upper respiratory kind of difficulty. Then we have elderberry, and I think that elderberry has been so popularized, especially because of the times that we're in. But it's incredibly high in A and C and B. It really is a strong anti-inflammatory, and it's beneficial in treating those symptoms of the cold and flu. But with elderberry, I will reiterate this, that it's important to take them as soon as you feel the onset of a symptom of a sniffly nose, of a cough. I don't want it to be overused and thought of as like a daily dose kind of thing for immune system prevention. So finally, but not least, we have the chaga. And like I said before, chaga is great for boosting and regulating the immune system, an adaptogenic, awesome mushroom, anti-ulcer, anti-cancer. And it also really helps just improve your longevity. And I feel like, my father would say this, and my sister Janae on the call would say this, but when in doubt, have chaga. And that is definitely something that you could have on the daily, at least while you're trying to boost your immune system. But I just would be careful not to over harvest, not to overuse, but to appreciate the mushroom and to use it when it's needed and not more. And then we have all that honey, and the honey is is awesome. I've heard of it as like a natural energy shot or a natural anti-allergy shot because it has a compound called quercetin. And quercetin is anti-inflammatory and anti-allergy. So especially by eating the honey that's in our area, it's antibacterial, it's packed with antioxidants. And again, it has that pollen and propolis that helps build the immunity to allergens. So overall, this is a great wellness syrup. Use it when your immune system is being taxed. Use it with care. And like I said, it's pretty easy to make. It's just a strong tea with honey. So
Awesome.
I'm just mixing it all in now. And I wish I could give you all a spoonful to taste it.
Thank you so much, Galadriel. It's like you have your little witch's brew there.
Yes.
Oh, that's great. I'm looking forward to getting my bottle from you. As I said, it's been very powerful whenever anything starts coming up. You know, if I start getting any kind of colds and symptoms, it's wonderful to have in my herbal tool chest. So,
well, it's a pleasure to take it, and I love to share it with you all. If you're interested in buying it, I'm happy to ship it, and let me know if you are interested.
how much are the bottles?
I need to do a double check on what I sold it for last year. I might
Okay.
have to modify it because I added the chaga.
Okay, just let us know.
Yeah,
That's great.
give a shout out if you're interested in. Love to support you all on your journey of wellness.
Thank you, Galadriel. Thank you so much. So I'm going to end the recording, and I'd like to keep going unless there is a question that you would like to ask that's pertinent to anything that we have talked about during this class. Anybody? Okay, well, again, I'm going to turn off the recording, but we're still going to be here. And I just want to thank you again, Galadriel, for sharing your wisdom, your heart, the yummy recipes I really loved creating with you. It was just, they're not hard to do. They're really not. It does take a little bit of time, but you know, they're wonderful nourishment, especially on those days when you're feeling depleted or just regular meals. This is wonderful meals to have. So thanks again.
Thank you for having me.
You are very welcome.
Galadriel. Great.
Yeah, thank you.